Welcome to Double Espresso with Dee. It gives me huge pleasure to welcome my guest and dear friend Eddeenne to the show. Hi, Eddeenne.
Hello, Dee.
So nice to see you. So, Eddeenne, you are Canadian, but today a resident of Paris. You have been through much change in your life, and some years ago, when you were in your 40s, you were having a difficult time. You were separating from your husband. It was very challenging, and you decided to go and have a change of scene and went diving in Lago Maggiore in Italy. Take me to that point. What happened?
It's really, in fact, it's a milestone in my life. So my new boyfriend at that time just asked me if I would like to dive, but I never dived in my life before. And because I was bankrupt by my husband, who has been crooked, I had no money. So instead of going to the Caribbean islands, because I don't have enough money for that, we went to the Lac Maggiore. And you don't dive in the lake because it's too dark. So you dive in the river which flows in the lake. So you put the car 5 kilometers far and from the lake, and then you put a suit on and a bottle on your back because it's very, very cold. So you have to go within 50 meters high cliff. You go down with the bottle on your back, and if you're not dead at the bottom of it, then you dive into 15 to 20 meters deep of water. And it's absolutely gorgeous because you see how this canyon have been done through all those centuries. It's very wonderful. But after 20 minutes of diving, some divers passed by. They lifted up the dust. I was unable to see my own hand in front of my mask. So without knowing it, without expecting it, I went to the top of the river within few seconds. So I was sick. I was in a bad shape.
That you got dizzy, right? Because you came up too quickly because of the dust, right?
So my instructor finally found me because my head went out from the water. I was stuck in the stream within those cliffs, and he said, "You have to go dive again. You have to go dive again." And I just want to say to get out from there. But because I'm a scientist in my former life, when I was 20, I made scientist studies. I understood that unfortunately I have to go down again to recover. So I was so scared, even though I went down again. And when I was at the bottom of the river, I felt so well. It was so stunning for me that I turned around at this precise moment. The sun was behind a tree at the top of the cliff, making a refraction phenomenon. And I was surrounded by a rainbow, turning all the stones underneath me into fake sapphires, rubies, emerald. And I said, this is a sign. I will be a jeweler. I took the gold stone, I put it in my suit, and 2 weeks later, I was at the gemology school to make my gemology studies.
I mean, just absolutely incredible. So, I mean, that really was an epiphany, right? Because you, from that point, changed your life and you took control because you were able to make a decision, right? Even though your situation was desperate, you were able to take a step, right? Showing that you had agency, what we would say agency over your life. So, Edeenn, starting over can feel overwhelming, right? Starting over from a relationship, starting over in a career, reinventing oneself, it can feel terrifying, frankly, at any point in life, right? But it can feel literally like diving. You were diving into the unknown. How did you go about it? Because it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to be this, or I'm going to be that, or I'm going to live in this place or that place. But it's another to actually do it. How did you get yourself back to Paris and go, right, off I go? You sign up to school. What was the next step?
Of course, it's scary. As you said, terrifying, to do something new. But we say so when we are out of the situation. Because what we forget to say, it is when you live something like this, you also have so much pleasure, so much fun. And I would say that it is the fun and the pleasure, the happiness, unexpected, fulfill you. So it makes you happy, and somehow, somewhere, you are anxious to be tomorrow, just to play again. And I think that we get blind with this pleasure. That's how we go further. So some point, suddenly you say, oh my gosh, I don't have money. Now I have to do something else. So in fact, I can have an evening and then say, well, the pleasure is great, but I have to earn money. I have my 2 kids and you have to answer to my new problem. But your subconscious will find an answer for it.
You know what? It's so interesting what you say, because, you know, a lot of the psychologists talk about excitement and being in a place of excitement, right? So when you're in that place of excitement, it's where you shine, literally, where you're at your best, being your best, and using your skills, your special magic powers, I would call them, right? And
And discover ourselves in a new way of thinking, of doing, of acting.
what did you, during this time, discover about you and who you are?
I would say that I am closer and closer and closer of who I am, really. And of course, it was such a surprise to discover that, well, I can say so, I'm an artist. And an artist, you know, for me to say that I'm an artist, it is the same since only a couple of years. I wasn't able to say it from myself because I considered that, like, tell me that I'm handsome, I'm a beautiful woman. You cannot say so. It's only you wait for people to tell you, oh, you are really gorgeous, and oh, okay.
Which you are,
And it's
of
the same for
course.
artists. So for me, it's the same. I was unable to say for myself, you are an artist, because for me, it's a qualification. Is that right? It determines you, so I cannot say it from myself. But now, no. I consider that I can really say I'm an artist. And an artist, for me, the definition, and we need in our humanity right now, which is a complete mess, we need more and more artists.
Couldn't agree more.
The
More
artists
creativity.
give back what how they see this world, and we need it to not only talk about money or COVID now, is the second subject, but to talk about the world, humanity, love, hate, everything. So I discovered that it was my gift. When I do my exhibition, and I always bring back pieces from my clients with in the exhibitions. So I'm telling through my storytellers the stories underneath every pieces. So my client's story, and of course the people who see the exhibition, they are always crying because I'm talking about life.
Talking about life and real life, right? And did you see or experience that creativity in yourself and that potential before you had that epiphany? Did it manifest itself in your former life?
Oh yes, from the beginning, because at 4, my father put me in the paintings courses. After that, I would say I play piano, I play flûte traversière, I sew dresses, coats. I wrote plays. I directed actors to make plays. I draw. So I made so much things, and I was still working as a businesswoman.
And also, I mean, you're a polymath because you're able to fit in all these things. And probably those elements of your life are what gave you energy. So, Edeenn, coming back to this new road that you're on, you know, you went through transformative experiences. You were not in your home country, and you broke into an industry which is known for its closed doors, its exclusivity. It is actually very male dominated as well. What were the biggest challenges to you in the early years of becoming the fine jeweler that you are today?
The first one, it was believing in myself. So it took me time to recognize that, in fact, I was good and I was a good jeweler. So it took me time. So that was the harder part. After that, I think that I was quite blind, believing that I can be in this business. And in fact, it is only with men, it's a man business. It's a man business.
Can I say something though to that point? Sometimes almost not knowing right? Or being naive in a good way about something can help you, right? Because you have a childlike vision of where you want to go, and you're just not going to have all those blocks in front of you because you don't see them, right?
Yep, yeah. And I think that a part of our subconscious also hide those blocks because you know somewhere, but even though you go straight ahead. So that's why I took the butterflies as a symbol of my life, because even if it's snowing or raining, they're going toward. So it's the same. Sometimes I was blind or deaf and say, okay, no, I will go straight ahead. And I discovered at the same time that, the people from the business, they told me, the feedback was, I made, and I still make jewels very feminine. And some of the great guy from Christie's in Geneva, he said 8 years ago to a journalist that Edeenne, she's the proof that a woman knows better than a man what woman wants to wear. And in fact, I think that what I discovered, it was genuine. I was genuine to design what I feel from there, not from there. It doesn't work when you create from there.
And obviously, the butterflies are a theme in a lot of your work. So, Eddeenne, here we have the butterfly ring. Can you describe that for us? It's so beautiful.
So you have four butterflies. They are all diamond paths, and actually they are on my hand. You don't see the setting. You don't know how it stands. So you think that the butterflies, they will fly from my hand. So the way they are in my hand, it is underneath on two fingers. So on two fingers. So the four butterflies are spread over my hand. And it's very easy to wear. Very easy to wear.
Utterly stunning, really beautiful. And that's been like a talisman in some ways for you, hasn't it? So, Eddeenne, the other challenge that we've talked about before in these early times, and frankly with any business that's building, was financial. How did you manage, studying, launching, looking after your children with everything that implies, time wise, financially, and so forth? How did you keep the show on the road?
So that was, I think, the other harder part, because this business needs so much money, and I had no money. I had no money, and even today, I put everything in my business. And I start at the beginning with pearls, selling pearls or small stones, and I get higher and higher slowly. So I found a place here in Paris, so a museum, who wanted to show my work. But to compete, the Place Vendôme, she said that I must have at least 50 pieces, and I was with no money. So I asked my best clients if they would like to subscribe to a contract. And so each one gave me money, and this money was only to pay diamonds, the gold, and the workshop, best, and the taxes. So that means that those people, they were the owner of the piece, subscribe them, and the day I sold them, I give them back the money plus 30%. And we were in the Madoff period at that time. So people were losing money. And me, I was giving 30%. And the bank, they say, you're completely crazy in the end. So that's how I made pieces to show the level of my work.
Tell us about this creative process a bit more, because you've told me so many stories, because you're a storyteller effectively, and you through this process tell other people's stories, whether it's a couple who want to show their love for one another or celebrate a moment in life, or someone who wants to gift themselves something exquisite. Tell me, is there a special story you can share with us to illustrate that process? I know every story is unique and special to you, but one that you find particularly moving, émouvant.
Okay, so there's a story about a couple. So they met in the private equity, and he was Italian, married with a French woman, who never understood him, with his Italian behavior. Chérie, chérie, come with me to Venice.
Amore.
And her, She was married with a narcissistic perverse,
Oh, so we say a
and I
narcissist.
met
So she was married with a
a
narcissist, right?
narcissist. Yeah. And believe me, he's really a real one. I met him. And during 7 years, they were in French of each other. And during 7 years, they were talking about how awful was their own marriage. And after 7 years, he put his hand on her arm and he said, "My gosh, I'm in love with you." 3 months later, they were together with their own children. And the first thing he made, he asked me a piece for her. So for me, I made it's a round ball of leaves because you can do nothing against growing leaves, and it's the same with love. So it's a round ball because it surrounded them too during 7 years, around them too, and you can see through because they saw nothing during all those years. But I'm quite sure that all the colleagues were always saying, "Oh my gosh, they're again together." And then the round ball, it's a pendant, and you can open it, and a tassel of aquamarine falls down from the round ball because their love was as clear as water.
Oh my God,
So this is the
beautiful.
pendant.
Did they cry when you gave it to them?
Of course they do. And after that, because I really, really enjoyed this piece, and I asked them if I can spread love over other people. So I have a language. And my clients, they ask for symbols from my language. Like the butterfly is tenacity and grace. The leaves are spreading love. The ivy leaves is commitment. And they ask for it.
When you were 50, you had a party. And you love a party, as I know, and you invited lots of friends on a boat on the Seine. What happened next?
That was a great moment in my life. So it was the first time I was here since a while. It was the first time that everybody was there, and I told them on the mic why they were there on the boat on La Seine, and I start saying that I arrived in France sans personne, which means in English without anyone. And now I am surrounded by 100 personnes, which is 100 people. And I told them why they were there. And at the end of it, I said, okay, I found it took me 50 years to find the meaning of my life. So for everyone now, forget my street name on my passport. And now my name is Edeenn. So I baptized myself at 50 for my second part of my life, Edeenn. And actually, it will be in my next passport, Canadian passport. So it will be recognized.
Oh my God, I'm so psyched about that. I'm so psyched. So can I ask you, and by the way, I agree with you in terms of the people we meet in life. I often say, and it's a dear friend of mine who told me this and it's stayed with me ever since, but you meet people for a reason, a season, or for life. And it's a beautiful thing because even when you have a difficult experience, you learn something, don't you? Even if that person's no longer in your life. So you wish them well on their own journey because we're all on our own paths. So that is a beautiful thing. Where did you come up with your name? Where did that come from to change?
It's funny because many people in the business, they say that everything in my house, in the Maison Eddeenne, is genuine, is authentic, everything. It was invented by my grandmother. And my grandmother, she passed away when she was 24. And for me, Eddeenne, it's such a wonderful name. And it is close to Eddeenne, and I make your dreams come true. So, it gives meanings of what I'm doing for people. So Eddeenne, I love this name.
Totally, and touching so many hearts. No, it's such a beautiful name, and such a name for you, right? In so many ways. So Eddeenne, today, if we fast forward, you've been declared one of the most important women in the history of jewellery since 1900. How does all that feel to you today?
I will give you an experience which will explain clearly how I feel. My first exhibition in Monaco, it was in 2009, and I had the half of the posters the publicity in Monaco, half of them, half of them was with a post with me, with my face, with my face on a white background, and it was only written Edeenne first stop Monaco. That's all. Everybody was wondering, who is this lady? She's too old to be L'Oréal publicity, It was very Jews, huh? It was 4 by 3 meters wide, and all my friends and my team was, hey, how do you feel seeing yourself in Monaco streets like this, And I say, I don't care. It's only one brick to construct my house. That's all. I'm always looking at how will look the end of my building, So it's only a construction, because if you stay too long on something, being happy of yourself, you go backward.
You stagnate, right? You stagnate or go backwards.
Yes. When you stagnate, you go backward. At the second you stagnate, you go backward. And it's so hard to start again, So I don't stay, I'm not, overwhelmed that much. Only a few seconds. Okay. Oh, it's fun, but that's all. I have to think about tomorrow.
Today, what in the world we're in, what excites you the most?
You think about humanity in a really deep way. Usually, we go through our life not thinking that much and so deeply about humanity. But we have on one part, and on the other, what I will do with all the pandemic situation, about the vaccine. I want it, I don't want it. I believe in the scientists or not, on politics. And it's the first time, I think, in my life that we are so crushed between topics. We all of us, we think about what we should do, what will happen to ourselves, a family, tribe, and at the same time, where's the humanity is going. So it's something special. It's something special.
Special time. So COVID, if we just touch very briefly on that, it was a hard time, right? You really had some challenges in the business. Tell me about that and how you overcame them.
I meet people only through someone, and I wasn't able to see anyone. So it was very, very hard time. So for me, it was exactly the opposite of what I need to stay alive. So I made a lot of things to still believe in myself, believe in my company, to see what I can do or not. And I would say in March, I decided, no, I will never, ever close this house. It's impossible. I put so much in it. And I think that it is so fun for the client to live this experience which is so far away from the one you live in the Place Vendôme. They do quite well.
So just clarifying for those that don't know, Place Vendôme is where all the big names are, right? It's a very, because people have to find you, right? And then go on a journey with you effectively for you to create something for them.
Because we talk about their life. So that's why it's quite different. I'm not talking only about the wallet, but I'm talking about your life. What have you done in the humanity, in this world?
So Eddeenne, you often say that in your life, everything that you've done in your life has helped you to become who you are today and to do what you do today, which is an incredible gift, right? And you're a total inspiration. What advice would you give someone who needs to make a change, or someone who is in some way forced to reinvent themselves? What would you say to that person?
We think that it's very hard to do it. But actually, when you have done it, you discover that it was so easy. You have to cut yourself from your head. You have to cut yourself from your environment, family, friends, all this. Of course, they will always be in the back of your head, always. But you have to think about what you have here in your heart, what you love in life, what you are good in, how you want to enjoy your life. Because when you do a work, you have to like it. You have to like it. And to listen to signs. Like one of my friends, he told me the people are separated in two groups. One, they're always looking for a train passing by, And the other group, they will jump in the right one, So in fact, when I discover all those stones underneath me in the water, I said, I have to listen to it. I love stones and I will work in this. Even I have no money, I'm a woman, I'm 45, I'm a Canadian. There's no tradition in high jewelry in Canada. And to always keep in mind, sky is the limit. We can do everything we want in this life. Even if you are married, you have kids, you have no money, sky is the limit. You can do everything.
I couldn't agree more. I also think that we do get signs. Even when you meet someone, you get signs very early on, right? I mean, when we met, that was that, right? Friends for life. And I think you get information in situations, be it from individuals or from the environment. And if you're open, I think the environment can support you, But I have one final, very unfair question to ask you. If you could make one piece for one person in the world, who would that be? And what might it be?
I met a lot of people since I'm doing this. My life, it's absolutely incredible since 18 years. And in fact, you're right. Like, for example, when we met, as soon as I saw you, within few seconds, I knew I should work with you. It was clear. And so I rewind. I met so incredible people. And I would love to make something for Michelle Obama. I met her. And she's really, really, really something. She's really something. I cannot explain how strong is this woman, how powerful is this woman, but the nice power, the positive power. She's so kind. When you are in front of her, nothing else exists. Nothing. I'm nothing. You are the one, even if it is for 4 minutes. You are the only one on earth. She's really, really something.
So, Edeenne, thank you so much for being with me today. You are such an inspiration to me and to many. And I can't wait for the next adventures on the journey of Edeenn.
With pleasure. See you soon.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Double Espresso with Dee, with me, Dee Sterling. If you enjoyed it, I'd love you to review and subscribe to the podcast so we can share these amazing stories with others. I'd also love to connect with you, so feel free to contact me via Instagram DM at @D_Espresso. Until the next time, au revoir.